session and we're in the drop zone. We need a quick lap or that's qualifying over for us.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position. And Yuki Tsunoda completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Gasly, Esteban Ocon, and Drugovich, Albon, Verstappen, Teo Porcher, and Marcus Armstrong, Bottas, Fernando Alonso, Oscar Piastri, and Magnussen, Lundgaard, Norris, Sebastian Vettel, and Red, Sainz, and Dennis Hauger. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Now, that's P15. DRS is being enabled. 8 seconds. Okay, the stewards have now disabled DRS. DRS is now disabled. Okay, so this light... Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. So let's see how the drivers' standings have changed. Let's move on to the constructors. Meanwhile, AlphaTauri's strong weekend allows them to continue their march up the table. Well, that wraps up Sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then. Welcome along then to the magnificent Suzuka International Circuit, a stone's throw away from Issei Bay in the beautiful Japanese countryside. What surprises lie in wait for us today in the Japanese Grand Prix? It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Yuki Tsunoda lines up on pole position with Esteban Ocon alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Drugovich, Christian Lundgaard and Leclerc. Magnussen, Red, Vettel and Teo Porcher, Verstappen, Albon, Lando Norris, Hauger, Bottas, Oscar Piastri, Pierre Gasly and Carlos Sainz. Armstrong and George Russell ends our grid lineup. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Can I get your take on Ferrari? There have been some tweaks to the power unit regulations, of course, and I have to say it doesn't seem so far, at least, that they've been able to keep up.
There are a few downcast looks within the team this weekend. I think they've been hit fairly hard by the new regs. But this is only the first step down a long road of development, and even if they don't maximise their points today, there are plenty more up for grabs this season.
Let's get ready to go racing again. The safety car is in this lap. When the field accelerates, remember there's no overtaking until the timing line. falling away soon. Okay, the pit window's open, so let's box this lap, box this lap. That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting. Look after these tyres now, and you want to finish the race on this compound. Nice move, good job. Keep managing your tyres, manage your tyres. Gap on the car behind by 5/10 a lap. We're catching the car ahead, well done, but be aware these tyres need to get us to the end of this race. Absolutely awesome. Just amazing, mate. Well done.
Another action-packed Japanese Grand Prix comes to an end then, and a magnificent drive to take the win today. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
I think we'll chalk this one up to a deft touch on the brake pedal. That's allowed them to challenge down the inside into the braking zones, and ultimately, if you do that often enough, you end up winning the race. It was great to watch as well though, wasn't it? Forget strategy, forget tyre management. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned scrap?
I'm thoroughly exhausted. after the excitement of the race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way out onto the podium. Red increases their championship lead. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Red. They did a great job at getting the most out of their tyres without losing pace, something that's a very handy skill to have in modern-day Formula One.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Meanwhile, Alpine move up the table with another strong performance this weekend. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and Lance Stroll. Let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan. Take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Dennis Hauger completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri and Fernando Alonso, Lundgaard, Armstrong, Russell and Kevin Magnussen, Ocon, Théo Pourchaire, Max Verstappen, Red, Vettel, Bottas, Pierre Gasly and Felipe Drugovich. Norris and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat, Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching for as they go down into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
Okay, slow down, your delta's negative. There's a new strategy available on the MFD. That was a... Okay, clear. Felipe behind you now. Okay, the gap is less than a second. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 2 laps old. Time last lap was a 2 minutes. Okay, good work. Great pass. Okay, the stewards have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online. Magnussen stopping now. Behind is dropping back by about 0.3 a lap. Well done. Green flag. effects of some tyre wear soon, so stay on your toes. Okay, we've lost a position, that's us down a place. Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And so ends another Azerbaijan Grand Prix. A fascinating race and a well-deserved victory. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, staying out of trouble was probably the most important factor here. In the race where half the field weren't classified at the checkered flag, you were able to guarantee a good result by basically keeping the car running. With their pace and a decent strategy as well, I don't think the race was ever really in doubt.
As today's winners make their way up the podium steps, the folks at Alpine have shown once again what it takes to build a successful Formula One team. A well-deserved win for them. So let's review the updated drivers' standings. Let's focus on driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Felipe Drugovich gets my vote today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. Well, that certainly was an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon. To Portimao, one of the busiest towns in the Algarve and a breathtaking destination that brings tourists from all around the world to the shores of southern Portugal. Today it's the backdrop for the latest round of the Formula One World Championship, and with a circuit this wide, we could be in for a lot of exciting wheel-to-wheel. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Théo Pourchaire, Yuki Tsunoda and Oscar Piastri, Albon, Hauger, Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas, Armstrong, Drugovich, Christian Lundgaard and Ocon, Vettel, Fernando Alonso, Red and Kevin Magnussen, Norris and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Natalie Pinkham, good to have you with us today. Your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? As a driver, there are three big things to worry about when racing in these conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that. That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting. Okay, you're catching the car ahead, but remember, we need to get to the end of the race on these tyres. Okay, clear. Are you okay? That was a big one. Confirm you're okay, please.
So another fantastic victory for Red Bull today. So, Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Staying out of trouble was probably the most important factor here. In a race where half the field weren't classified at the checkered flag, you were able to guarantee a good result by keeping the car running. With their pace and a decent strategy as well, I don't think the race was ever really in doubt.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. It's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. So let's review the updated drivers' standings. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Christian Lundgaard gets my vote today.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. No change in the top spot, but with today's points, their hold on the lead is getting weaker. There is also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today as they make their way up the standings. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who's joined us, and we'll see you for the next one. A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That's how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but we still race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean. There is no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Russell, Alex Albon, and Armstrong, Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, and Esteban Ocon, Lundgaard, Magnussen, Valtteri Bottas, Hauger, Drugovich, Vettel, Red, and Lando Norris. Teo Porcher. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. It's just about time to go to the track for the beginning of the race, but before we do, Anthony Davidson, what types of strategy do you think we can expect for today's event?
Well, there's a lot that both the driver and the team have to keep in mind when going into a race. The tyres, fuel, energy recovery systems, the list goes on and on. But I think the key to today's victory will come down to the pit stop strategy. Come in too soon and you might find yourself needing more than one stop. Too late and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by spending longer on worn tyres.
bad. Are you all right? Let me know you're okay.
They've done it then. They've won here in Monaco with an emphatic performance and a victory they can be proud of for years to come. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. Let's focus on Driver of the Day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
But there's no question in my mind, it has to go to George Russell. What a performance. He's got every right to be proud of what he accomplished out there today.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. It was a tough race for our championship leaders who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend for them as they fight their way towards the top. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more